This is Matt Driscoll, columnist for the News Tribune in Tacoma, and you're watching this month's installment of You Rip, I Respond. I'm not sure where this article was supposed to take us. It sounded like another poor, starving student article, but ended up disclaiming that title. Over 40 years ago, I too was a starving student, as were many of my family and friends. The fact that struggling can build character is a positive human attribute and one that should be praised. This article points at struggling being a negative thing when I would disagree with that assumption. Thanks, Kevin. This email came in response to a recent column I did about a preliminary study at UW's 3 campuses, and specifically UW-T here in Tacoma, about the number of students facing food insecurity and housing insecurity. And believe it or not, for whatever reason, I received a lot of similar emails. I don't really have time to psychoanalyze why this triggered a lot of people, but it certainly did, and so I wanted to respond to Kevin. It's interesting because in announcing the preliminary results of this study, folks at UW-T really sought to kind of push back on that romanticized version of the starving student, saying that what this study shows is completely different. And that's why I wrote about it, and I agree with that. The fact is, when I went to college, which wasn't all that long ago, I had a similar experience as Kevin expresses in this email. I worked jobs, I delivered pizzas, I delivered newspapers, I freelance wrote for papers, and I was able to get through college largely without much debt. Today, that's really not possible, and that's kind of what this study highlights. Whether it's because of increased tuition cost or increased housing costs or other things like the increased cost of food or childcare, the idea that you can kind of work your way through college struggling to get by, eating top ramen, but making it, really it's untenable. It's impossible for many students these days because of those things that I mentioned. So the point of writing about this for me was to really highlight that difference that we've seen over the generation. And again, that goes back to things like increased cost of tuition and increased cost of housing. And specific to UW-T, it's a problem worth thinking about and addressing, because not only has UW-T kind of revitalized downtown in terms of you know, what the experience downtown is like, we're going to depend on UW-T to produce the kind of graduates that can take Tacoma and Pierce County's economy into the future and make this more than a bedroom community. So if students, again, at UW-T, a large number of first-generation students and a large number of transfers from community college are economically unable to reach graduation, that's a problem for Tacoma and Pierce County and really for all of us. So that's why I wrote about it, and that's what I was trying to highlight. Thanks, Kevin.